Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Soul Stained Ink. My name is Beth, and today I'm going to be taking you along with me on a journey through the wonderful world of words, which for today means that I have a library haul. Yay! Okay, everyone, I have this big tote bag over here full of library books, and I'm going to deviate from my typical cover shot, name, author, publication date, move on type of format to include reading you a line or two from a randomly chosen page, except for one book, which I've already started reading, and I found a portion of it that I really wanted to share with you, which is how this whole thing got started to begin with. I'm just going to start pulling books, telling you title, author, publication date, all of that jazz, and then opening it up to just a random page and reading you a couple of lines. The first book is A Wizard Abroad. This is book 4 in the Young Wizard series by Diane Duane. This is the first book in the series that I cannot remember having read. It was published in 1993 by Magic Carpet Books, which is part of Harcourt Incorporated, and I'm very excited to continue on with this series. It's actually shorter than the rest of them. I feel like it is anyway. It's about 330 pages. It feels a lot shorter than the last one. And on page 139, it says they had been taking turns riding, or sometimes Kit would ride and Nita would sit on the handlebars, or the other way around. At the moment Kit was walking the bike beside Nita, looking around appreciatively. "This is great," he said. "I guess if you had to be sent someplace, this is as good as any." All right. Next, we have the only book from this entire haul that is from upstairs in the young adult/adult section. This is classified as young adult in my library, but I think it's probably not young adult, honestly. But this is Changeless by Gail Carringer. This is the second in the Parasol Protectorate series. I just finished the first one over the weekend and I loved it. So I grabbed this one today. And on page 234, it says, "Is Dupe his given name or surname?" Alexia asked her husband. "Good question," he replied. "150 years I have had to put up with that blighter, and he never told me the which way of it. I did not know much about his past before Kingair. Came in as a loner back in the early 1700s. Bit of a troublemaker." "Oh, and you wouldn't know anything about secrecy or troublemaking, would you, husband?" "Touche, wife." So the entire first book was that same sort of sassy snarkiness, and I can't wait to continue on with it. The next book is The Island of Dr. Libris by Chris Gravenstein. Look at the cover. That kind of cover is absolutely perfect. This illustration is absolutely perfect for the style of writing that Chris Gravenstein incorporates into his books. I finished listening to Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library during the hashtag S'mores and Mayhem readathon last week, and I loved it so much that I immediately found and downloaded on Overdrive the book 2, Mr. Limoncello's Library Olympics, which I am almost finished listening to, and The Island of Dr. Libris, which I have not begun to listen to yet, but they had this on the shelf, and I really wanted to pick it up and thought that I could kind of go back and forth if they have the same narrator for this as they do for the other two. If they don't, then I might not even bother with the audiobook. This was published in, I have no idea, I haven't gotten that far, in 2015 by Random House Children's Books. So there you have it. And on page 160, it says, "Billy and Walter followed Jack up a winding trail that led them deep into the forest. Pollyanna didn't go with them. She had to take a jar of jelly to somebody named Mrs. Snow. Apparently, Mrs. Snow lived in a parallel universe. Billy figured once you started adding impossibly sideways staircases to your world, you could do it all the way to infinity." "I spy my house!" cried Jack when they reached a tiny whitewashed cottage near a sunlit field filled with haystacks. A thick green beanstalk, its trunk the size of an oak tree, grew in the backyard. So that's very exciting. I love Chris Gravenstein's style. I cannot wait to continue on. All right, we've got Daisy Dawson is on Her Way by Steve Bowick, illustrated by Jessica Messervy, that name. This was published in 2007 by Candlewick Press, who is quickly becoming one of our favorite children's chapter book publishers. So there is the illustration right there, and it says on page 15, "What was it this time?" asked Miss Frink as Daisy tiptoed into the classroom and mouthed, "Sorry I'm late," over the top of Marty Johnson's head. "A tornado, perhaps? An avalanche? An earthquake in the lane?" As the rest of the class giggled into their reading books, Daisy shook her head and slid into her seat. "No, Miss Frink," she said, "it was none of those things." "Really?" replied the teacher icily. "Well, Daisy, you surprise me." Well, that's a little snarky, don't you think? Right, next we have The Fairy Without Wings, which is a Disney Fairies book. Typically, you don't have an actual author on Disney books, and this one does not seem to be any different. But it was published in 2007 by Disney Enterprises Incorporated. And we'll just go to page 13 here. Mother Dove was a magical bird whose nest contained the special egg. Without Mother Dove and her egg, there would be no pixie dust, and everyone in Neverland would quickly grow old. So that's an interesting take. I haven't heard anything about Mother Dove before, and we love Tinkerbell. So we're going to get on that pretty quickly, I think. Next, we have The Classy Crooks Club by somebody, Allison Cherry. Yes, Allison Cherry. This came out at the beginning of 2016, or March 2016, I guess. I saw somebody reviewing this, and I feel like it was the end of last year when I saw them reviewing it, so they must have gotten an arc. But they were talking about how fun it was, and it's about this little 12-year-old girl who has to go live with her grandma for a month, and she feels like her grandma is very prim and proper and is not going to let her continue her adventuring ways while she's living at grandma's house. And then she finds out that grandma's bridge club is a cover for a group that conducts heists. So she kind of starts in on thieving with her grandma and her grandma's bridge club. So page 172. "Let me know if you can come as soon as possible, okay? We need to know how many cosmetologists to hire and how many lobsters to order." Brianna spins around and stalks off, and Maddie shoots her a look of such pure hatred that I'm surprised Brianna's head doesn't explode, showering brains and diamond earrings and clumps of perfect hair everywhere. All right, so that's interesting. Moving on, we have another Disney book. This is Beauty and the Beast, The Perfect Party. This is a Storytime Treasures library. This book was published in 1998 by Advanced Publishers of Disney Enterprises Incorporated. And whatever page this is, it says, "Mrs. Potts gathered all her friends together to tell them the news. They were as excited as she was. In fact, all of them wanted to help." So this book is about like throwing a party and having the proper manners and getting things together. That'll be fun. And then we have Princess, the Essential Guide. Funny story, Elena got woken up early from her nap today in order to go to the library for story time because the website said story times were Tuesdays at 3:30. Come to find out, that is incorrect information. Number one, story time is Mondays at 3:30, and number two, that's only during the school year. They don't have them during the summer. So when we got there, they were actually working on fixing the website, and Elena was so upset that she didn't get to have story time that the wonderful librarian said, "Well, there's not really anybody here. Why don't I go downstairs with you and read to you, since you don't want your mommy to be the one to read to you?" Because Elena was going, "Mommy reads to me all the time, and I wanted a teacher person to read to me." So they picked 5 picture books and wound up sitting there reading together for the better part of 45 minutes. But Elena really wanted this one, and it's a very long book, and it basically just talks about each princess and what their stories are and things like that. So, like this says, Mulan wants to save her father, but joining the army is no picnic, nor is pretending to be a smelly man. But Mulan is determined to succeed and bring honor to her family. So it just tells the story of the princesses, and it's just kind of the guide to every princess story. Elena just wanted to get it and look through it, so we got it, and we'll look through it. Then we have The Wonderful Fluffy Little Squishy by Beatrice Alamagna. And this was published in 2015 by Enchanted Lion Books. Here is the front cover. And here are some of the illustrations. And it says, "Oh, I was so scared that I ran out of there as fast as a jackrabbit. Darn it all! And now it was snowing. I felt so tired and discouraged that I looked for a place to rest." So this book we honestly got because of this fabulous cover. I didn't actually look inside it at all, but it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have Elizabeth, Queen of the Seas by Lynn Cox, illustrated by Brian Flora. And this is about an elephant seal in New Zealand. And it was published in 2014 by Random House Children's Books. And then it says, "Early one morning when the grass was still wet, Elizabeth hauled herself up to the top of the riverbank and stretched out across the 2-lane road. Maybe she liked the feel of the warm firmness under her belly, or maybe it was the sunshine fanning out across her back. But whatever it was, she decided to stay." And then finally, I have the book I've already begun reading, and that started this whole mess for you guys. And that is The Thing About Jellyfish, a novel by Allie Benjamin. This is Allie Benjamin's first novel. It is her debut work. And it's about a 12-year-old whose best friend went on vacation and drowned over the summer. And so now Susie, who's a very scientifically minded individual, just can't understand how Franny, who was a great swimmer, drowned. And I'm only on chapter 2, but she has decided basically that she's not going to speak unless she absolutely has to. So it's not that she has shut down and doesn't speak. She just doesn't feel the need to fill the world with unnecessary chatter anymore. She's trying to worry things out in her brain, and it's very beautifully written, and it's already dealing with some heavy topics for 12-year-olds, and it's just very well done so far, in my opinion. I'm going to read to you from page 18, and it says, "All this time I thought that our story was just that, our story. But it turns out you had your own story, and I had mine. Our stories might have overlapped for a while, long enough that they even looked like the same story, but they were different. And that made me realize this: everyone's story is different all the time. No one is ever really together, even if it looks for a while like they are." It's absolutely beautiful and heart-wrenching. And yeah, so that was all the books we got from the library today. That's all I've got for you. I'm done. I'm going to go eat supper. But if you have anything to say to me, especially if it pertains to the books that I have just discussed, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to link any videos or blog posts you have discussing these books if you would like to share those. And also, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.